Yeah, okay, let's just start this. That's what it says. You're welcome. It's been pretty satisfying seeing things fill up. This is just what I've decided to do. It's a pretty good gash. Can we just, Hello, welcome back to my VanBuild. My name is Linnea and this is my 2016 Ram ProMaster. His name is Togo. Today I am insulating my van. This is the most controversial topic in the van life community. This is probably the part that I've spent the most hours researching, and really there are a lot of great options for insulating a van. Of course there are pros and cons with all of them, but I ended up going with 3M Thinsulate, and I am really excited about this product. I wanted to take the first few minutes of this video to explain to you why I chose Thinsulate over the other options and kind of the pros and cons of all of the most popular options. If you are just here to watch the installation of my insulation, you can just skip ahead. I'm gonna start with one of my number one things that I was looking for in my insulation, and that was that I did not want it to be toxic. So I'm gonna be living in my van full time, using it as my home, my office, my travel vehicle, everything. So I was not willing to have anything that was toxic as my insulation. Basically right away, that threw out fiberglass insulation for me. I did not want to worry about those fibers getting anywhere in my van or in my lungs. I didn't want to be breathing that. I didn't want Akela to be breathing that. I know that there are ways to install it really safely, and I didn't want to have to deal with the toxicity of it. I looked into two other non-toxic options, one of them being wool, Havelock wool. That's a really popular one that people will use, and the other one is like a denim insulation. It's like shredded denim. So with the Havelock wool does have a great R value, and it is sustainable. Although I do know that wool attracts insects over time, and through my research I learned that even the wool that is like chemically treated to repel insects, down the road that kind of breaks down, and after a few years people actually have to take down their walls and pull out that insulation because it still does get infested with like moths or different insects. And I just didn't want to do that. As far as the denim, also non-toxic, has a great R value, but it will absorb water. And that's one of the things that the Thinsulate will not do. It's water resistant. Denim is not. So I didn't want something that would get really heavy and absorb water in the case that something happens and water gets into my walls. A rigid foam board. So I used rigid foam board for my floor, as you may have seen in my subfloor video, and it was great to work with then. It was not something that I wanted to use for my walls. I have seen people install a rigid foam board and it takes a really long time. It's kind of annoying to install. It's really hard to get into the smaller areas that a more flexible material will be able to get into. So I just decided to not go with the foam board either. Another really popular option is the spray foam. There are a lot of van lifers that I see on here that will pay somebody to come in and professionally spray foam their area. And I did consider this. I do know that spray foam has a great R value and it does its job really well. But with a few things that I read or heard, one of the reasons why I didn't go with it is because there are actually drain holes made in the walls of the van so that if there is water trapped in there, it can drain out. And one of the concerns with the spray foam is that it gets everywhere, so it fills all crevices, all cracks, and all drain holes. So once again, if something were to happen where the water does get in somewhere or water gets between my wall panels and my insulation, it wouldn't really have anywhere to go. Also, as far as the spray foam, it's very permanent. So if I needed to make any changes in my van, or if the next owner, if I sell this this boy, wants to re-insulate or make it into something different, it's a really, really permanent thing. Whereas with the Thinsulate, if I wanted to do something different or replace it or fix something, I can just kind of tear it out. So why did I go with the 3M Thinsulate? Number one, it is non-toxic. That was super important for me. Number two, it is an acoustic barrier. So it's going to really, really help with all of the road noise and the clanking and anything else that's happening to my metal van. 3, it is moisture resistant, so it will not mold and it will not absorb water. Number 4, it is easy to install. So it's a flexible material, you'll see that later in the video, and all you need is a really strong adhesive spray, and then you just stick it to the walls. So it's very easy to install. I don't need a professional to do it. I don't need any fancy tools, and I can do it myself, and that's really important to me. If you are a viewer of my channel, you already know that. And the R value is pretty good. The Thinsulate that I ordered is SM600L. That will all be linked below, along with the adhesive that I use. And the R value of this product is 5.2. So, pretty good. Now, the downside to the Thinsulate is the price. But for me, being able to install it myself and have all of those positive things that I mentioned, to me, it was worth the price. So for this roll, it was about $470. Yeah. I will see people do like a double layer on the ceiling or in parts of the walls. So if you do want some added R value, apparently you can double up on the material. I obviously haven't used it yet, so I am not 100% what I will end up doing or if I'll have enough to double up. I think I went over all of the things. I suppose it's time to get going on this project. I will say it does feel really good just to have made my decision and have it here. And I'm not going back. And yeah, okay, let's just start this. Alright, here are the things that you will need for this project. First, your insulation. You also need a high strength spray adhesive. This is how you will adhere your insulation to your walls. You need something to measure your panels so that you're not just going in blind and guessing. A straight edge, painter's tape if you want to tape a portion of it, something to mark your measurements with, a really high quality pair of shears. This stuff is not easy to cut, and of course something to protect you as you are using that spray adhesive. It comes in a really tight roll, but as you can see, it kind of starts to expand, so it is decently thick and squishy and soft. I'm gonna just start with my back panels. I'm just going to measure, cut, and see what happens. You can come with me if you want, might as well. All right, so this is going to be 25 by 24 and a half. No, bless you. Whoa. Is that enough? I don't know. Okay, so I put this on without actually reading the directions because that's just something I would do. So you actually want to wait until the adhesive is tacky before you put the paneling on. It's doing okay, but I'll just make sure I do that for the rest of it. It says if the adhesive is aggressively tacky and does not transfer to your skin, it is ready to bond. So you want to test that with your knuckle. That's what it says. You're welcome. Okay, I have two of the back doors done. There are a lot of crevices that can fit a lot of insulation, so that's where most of my time is going actually. So even just by doing this for the few hours that I have been, I've been learning a lot. One of the things that I'm learning is that there are a lot more hidden crevices than I thought. And it's actually pretty easy to fit this stuff where it needs to be. So this whole cavity was empty and I just cut a shape, you know, rough to that size, and then just shoved it all the way through, and now that cavity is full. Right now I'm gonna work on these upper portions, and I've learned that I don't actually have to glue absolutely everything, because if the piece is big enough, it's actually held on by a lot of the metal. It's been pretty satisfying seeing things fill up, but I'm gonna work on this upper portion yet because I have not worked on one of those. But also what I'm doing, I need to see where my dog is. What are you doing? All right, anyway, so I've been keeping every single scrap that I create so that in the end, I can just shove it in places that I know need some love. So I'm gonna say 55 by 7. I just got done with the window panels, and this is what I did. So first I covered my windows. This is just like cling wrap. It actually worked really well. I thought I'd have to tape it, but I did not. And then I'm just fitting the big pieces in. And I know that I'm going to frame my windows, so I didn't want to insulate super close for right now, but after I'm done with the framing, I will just kind of stuff some more insulation wherever there is some extra space. So, as you've seen, I've done most of the big stuff. The ceiling is all done and the larger panels are all done. Today, I'm just going to finish all of the little things. So, right now I've been stuffing this cavity and I have the same kind of panel on the other side. And then what am I gonna do? My plan is to get the small frames in, so framing my windows and my 2 max air fans. So once those are framed, I am going to run my wiring. After my wiring, and right before I put my panels up, I'm going to fill any other places that I may have missed with the insulation. I am actually sweating a mustache right now. Maybe you can see it, maybe you can't, I don't know. Overall, this process has been quite easy. It is certainly time consuming, but I think any installation process is time consuming. Also, in a few other videos, people have said that the ceiling insulation will start falling down if you're not ready to put panels up right away, and mine is not. So it's been up here for 1 or 2 full days now, and so I think that the adhesive that I'm using is really good. I'm just about finished with the insulation and I'm almost done with my second can. So this is the adhesive that I've been using, so I'm working awesome. It's 3M high strength 90 contact adhesive. I will link it below. Also, just so you know kind of where I was at with this whole process, I actually wasn't sure what the smartest plan of action would be, if I should wire first or put my framing up first and then insulate. People do it all different ways, and this is just what I've decided to do and what made sense to me. Just make sure you keep following along to see when I pre-wire and put my framing up and kind of what gets in my way. I'll let you know if I would have, you know, wanted to do things differently, because I wish that it was a little bit more straightforward, but also there's a lot of beauty in just figuring it out. Excuse me, Akela, do you want to help? I'll take that as a no. I'll do all the work, it's fine. Don't forget about your big sliding door panel. Since it's always open, I forget that it's there. But I'm gonna insulate that now. So I just got done putting in my final little piece. I just have the top to do of my door, and I just wanted to show you that I sliced my hand. So it's a pretty good gash, and I sliced it from pulling some of my insulation through here, and on that edge I sliced it. Okay, hurts a little bit, but like whatever. So really this is a great teaching moment, and this will really come in handy when I make my wiring video to explain why I'm gonna do certain things, because the van edges are sharp. Not only do I not want them slicing my hand open, but I don't want them slicing my wires open. Anyway, stings a little bit. I'm almost done, so that's happy news. I don't want to have blood all over stuff, so I'm just gonna go wipe this off and then finish. Also, yesterday I drove for the first time since I put insulation in, and it is so quiet. Okay, bye, I'm gonna wipe the blood off my hand. Well, after a few long days of work, the insulation is done and it feels great. Hopefully this helped you decide what insulation you want to use, or just gave you a little bit more insulation. Oh my gosh. Or hopefully this just gave you a little bit more information about the options out there and why you should or should not purchase them. Based on where you travel and what your intentions are with your van, you might just want something a little bit different, and that's okay. Thanks so much for continuing to watch these videos and be involved in this van build. It's been really fun posting these videos and getting the feedback from you guys, as well as different pieces of advice. Akela, do you have anything to say? She does not at the moment. If this video is helpful in any way, go ahead and give it a like, share it. Can we just, make sure to subscribe so you can watch the rest of this van build. But it looks like it might be nap time.